Hello and welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast with me, Tommy Castle, Jamie Lawler and Zach Woods. Good evening, boys. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
Good, yeah, all good.
Car's past your MOT today, Jamie. You feeling happy?
Nothing advisory, loving life. I knew my car was fine, but it's still that pre-nerves of, like, what are they going to find? But no, done. I ain't got to worry about that for another year now, Sam. And you got.
Awesome,
Beautiful.
yeah. Zach's been having trouble with setting up today, so that's why we've been a bit late getting started because his camera keeps falling off the top of this laptop.
It's an absolute embarrassment, my setup at the moment. But it does the job. You can see me, you can hear me, I can hear you. So we'll produce a banging podcast. I'm sort of for now, yeah. In 5 minutes' time, I'll be going, what? Can't hear you, and we'll have to cut it. But we'll enjoy it while it lasts. Oh, I know, mate. Trust me.
And I've had a haircut as well. I look completely different.
I was gonna say, looking fresh. I complimented you on your hair. You cut your hair. I saw you shouted them out on Instagram.
Yeah. Big shout out to my local barber's Crate, Charles, who did my hair today. Usually it's Josh though. So big shout out to both of them. I love the guys. They're really good. I always feel very warm and welcome there. But yeah, enough of plugging everybody's businesses for free. We need our own sponsor for that. So in today's podcast we will be talking about the defeat at home to Luton, third on the bounce if I'm not wrong, or is it fourth? Please don't tell me it's fourth defeat.
Four losses on the bounce.
Fourth defeat in a row. We've got Wigan and Rotherham coming up, two massive games, which I'll be interesting to get your thoughts on. I'll talk about that a bit later. But also we want to keep this lively and cheery because it is 12 years ago to the day when Blues famously won the League Cup against Arsenal at Wembley. Hands up if you were there.
Oh, you're bellends. You knew what you were doing there.
Hands up if you're in the Birmingham Mail the next day as well.
Damn, that was my next one. That was.
God's sake.
No, you're a proper Blues fan, Zach.
Thank you.
You are. I know you are, man.
Scum.
Wow. Home and away ultra me. No, I'm joking. Home with the odd away game when possible. That's what
and also home at the odd game as well, in case the trains have been cancelled.
Oh, mate, the trains have been. You know what? The trains have been good recently since New Year.
Really?
The trains have been.
You've said it now.
Mate.
Yeah,
you said it now.
Oh yeah, no, touch wood. So hopefully it'll be alright. So
touch wood.
Need them to keep doing what they're doing. So if you work for the rail, you're doing a good job at the moment. Keep it up. Please don't fuck things up.
You could have been doing. You could have been doing a better job for me when I was traveling back from Edinburgh on the Friday night. I'd literally nowhere to sit because everybody was sat in my seat, so I had to find like a seat by myself, and my mum and brother managed to get like a seat across from me. But that was a pain in the arse. So whoever did that, that's really annoying. So you're not doing a completely great job. So just remember
80% solid, 80% solid, 20% still to work on though.
At the moment or in general?
Well, normally, if I had to say in general, 80% shit, 20% good.
That's more like it. Yeah,
that's what the trains are like. So
I think that's how we sort of reflects with Blues at the moment. 80% shit, 20% good.
No, 100% shit, 100%. It's so. We'll obviously talk about the Luton game. I guess that's a good segue onto it.
Yeah.
But just again. It's so depressing at the moment. Everything is so unbelievably flat. The performances are dire. Luton was terrible. 0 shots on target. The team looks like it's everything so flat. There's no energy. There's no spark. There's no excitement. There's no willing to get points and succeed. It's all just so flat. And it was another torrid result, torrid performance. To be honest, Luton didn't exactly look anything special. Didn't think Luton were incredible. Some games we've lost this season. I think Hull we've lost to this season. I thought Hull looked very good. You know, teams that are down there we've played have looked good and we've lost and deserved it. But Luton, I thought, were average. And we gave them the win. They had a few more chances than us. We created hardly anything. But it's just another poor result to add to what has been a diabolical return since the World Cup, a really concerning return since the World Cup, to be honest. I'm getting a little bit fearful now as to where we could finish this season because I cannot see where 12 points are going to come from. I wouldn't be surprised if we got no more than 5. I just can't see where points, where goals, where clean sheets are going to come from at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good point. Really worrying thoughts as well. Jamie, I've got a question first for you,
Yes,
and then
Jeff.
is the next game a must win or a must not lose game?
I think the next 2 are. I
No, but
think
which is it?
if we don't walk away with a win, we're cementing ourselves a little bit in the bin now. Like, yeah, all right, what is it, 7-8 points we've got between us and Wigan?
Think so.
That can get closed very quickly. Now, don't get me wrong, them 3 teams in the bottom are shit, but we are also quite shit. So I think we need to win. I think a draw is unacceptable right now away at Wigan. They are in complete free fall. They're not playing all like that good at the minute themselves. I think it's 2 poor teams going into each other in a game here. I think we want revenge from the 1-0 loss earlier in the season. But if Luton's anything to go off, I'd take a fucking 0-0 and run to the bank with it right now because I can't see us scoring for love nor money. I lost count the amount of times poor Lucas Djukovic flicked the ball on and no one ran on him again. Literally, no one ran on him. Like, honestly, I could have done a better job up front than with them run-ons than Hogan because he just didn't look fucking interested. He didn't look like he gave a shit half the time with his runs. He doesn't run till about 4 seconds after the ball's played, and then when Jukovic is flicking it on, he's just looking at him. I'm like, what are you doing? It's so infuriating. It genuinely like just drove me insane on Saturday watching him. And then he it was a shit performance, wasn't it? I'm gonna stumble over my words there. If I could name a couple of people who did all right, Ruddy couldn't do anything about the goal. I thought Kevin Long was actually all right, to be fair. Gary Gardner had a good game. Hannibal tried his heart out again. George all ran about and tried his best, and Djukovic.
Doesn't sound like a terrible performance then, really. Was it a bad performance?
I think it was just no cutting edge to it again. Like, for the love of fucking Christ, how many times do you get the ball on the wing and pass it 3 or 4 times and lose possession again? Just cross. You've got Djukovic in the box. Cross the fucking ball at him.
Yeah, that was something I was annoyed with, yeah.
He's literally stood there in the middle of the box just looking like, you're right, oh yeah. And they're just like passing it between each other. Chong's cut out on his left foot and then he's cut back out again. Just cross the ball.
Yeah, no, I definitely picked up on that on the day, yeah. Zach, is it a must win or a must not lose game?
I very much think it's a must win. I think most games are a must win. I think going into it with the mentality of only a point, I think can be quite harmful. As you said, Jamie, the gap can be closed very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I struggle to see where a win's going to come from at the moment. And I'm sure Wigan fans will say the same thing for them, but it only takes 1 or 2 good performances and we're for Wigan, and then we're right back in the relegation fight. So I think it's a must-win, both Wigan and Rotherham. I don't want us to go into it setting up to defend and play for a point because we need to be aiming for higher than that. At the end of the day, we want to get out of this relegation battle and get a decent finish in the table because it can still happen. We can still go for a decent 13th, 14th, 15th place finish, which still isn't good enough, I think, for a club of our size and what we want to achieve. But that's just where we're at the moment. But we can't be playing for a point. It just shows a weak mentality, a negative mentality. We want to be playing for all 3. We need to push for all 3 because 6 points from these next 2 games, and I think we're safe. I think we'll be more than fine then. But if we're picking up 1 to 2 points from both, I think we're in a very dangerous position because for games after that, I can't see us getting anything from. And as I said, I'd be amazed if we got much from Wigan and Rotherham. Just to be honest, I can't see us getting anything at the moment.
To scare you a little bit, if we lose these next 2 games, Wigan will go on 34 and Rotherham will go above us on 39. So potentially we could be in the bottom 3 in these next 2 games if we don't win them. So
I can see it happening. 100%.
I definitely think it is a must-win game because, you know, it's good getting a point and everything, but it's like both of you have said, not getting any further away from that bottom 3. And I think every game needs to be a must-win game, particularly when there's a team below you. You should always be trying to look to win the game. So, yeah, we definitely need to win.
How Birmingham City is it? Don't want to play the team below us right now. We don't want to play teams that we're meant to fucking win. That's not how we do this. We're shit when we're playing teams below us have been. Well, we were shit on Saturday against Luton, who were above us, to be fair. So I've lost my own argument there and all.
I was gonna say, mate, I don't think it matters who we play at the
We're
moment.
just
I
shit.
just think we are struck. We look like we're dying. This is the thing with a lot of teams. I turned around and said to my dad within the first 5 minutes, with a lot of teams that come to St Andrews or we go to them, you can tell pretty quickly the way they're going to play. Luton, it was evident they wanted that ball out wide. Every time they attacked, they want that ball out wide. They want it into Adebayo in the box, which I totally get. With us, it just doesn't look like we have a game plan. It just looks like we don't know what to do. We don't go into games thinking this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to score, and this is what we need to do it. For us, it just looks like we're just playing and hoping for the best. There is no game plan. And if there is a game plan, and if Eustis has set up the players with a game plan, we are executing it horrendously. Because I'm sure you guys will agree. I just don't know the way Eustis wants us to be playing because it's visually impossible to see.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't really know anymore. I mean, I sort of knew it earlier in the season. You know, we sort of sat back and attacked and got goals on the counter attack. Understood that. Now I have no idea though. So, what is the game plan?
I think the more infuriating thing is that Luton played the back five how we want to play a back five, and that's what pissed me off the most. Problem is they actually have urgency and know to put it out wide pretty quick. We dick about with it when we got a back five. There's no urgency, there's no crossing. All of their game plan was down the line, whip it in, big bastard up front. We also have a big bastard called Djukovic, but we can't whip it in. And I just don't understand why. I'd bring back a back five though at the minute because that 4-1-2-1-2 with the current squad just isn't working. Until you get Kedra back, until you get your team back fully fit, you know, we need Bielik back in that middle. I thought Gary did a good job at CDM, don't get me wrong, but I think we just need our squad back to full fitness. Trusty was a massive miss as well. Massive miss. I'm going to sound harsh on Longelo here. He can't help that he's not as tall. But I don't think that goal goes in if we've got Trusty at left back on Saturday.
Good point. Yeah.
I don't disagree.
And that's not Manny's fault. He can't help his height. I'll defend him in that. Like, I'll defend him there. He's small. He's not jumping. He can't help it. But they were sticking on him all game. Every cross that went in from that left-hand side, that big bastard just went on Manny straight away.
The only thing I'd say is give us a fully fit Blues 11 now, and I still don't think our results would be too dissimilar to what they've been, because I think we've pretty much, from the start of the season to the end of the season, seen the same squad fielded pretty much every week, or at least I think we've been quite fortunate with injuries this season. I don't think we've had too many up until recently, but since the World Cup, we've played pretty much just the same team week in, week out, and it's just not producing results like it was. I don't think it's an injury problem. I don't know what the problem is, but whatever the hell. Yeah, I know, but why? Why the performance is so different from before the World Cup and after? Because that team has changed very minimally. The results shouldn't contrast that much. I'd get it if we'd had like 4 or 5 injuries or brought in 4 or 5 new players or lost 4 or 5 new players. We haven't. It has to be some sort of mentality thing, because that team were getting fantastic results before the World Cup, beating QPR 2-0. We played well against Blackburn, well against Burnley. Against these big teams, we were doing fantastically. And since then, like, we're struggling to beat the bottom 3. We're struggling to get a point against the bottom 3. We lost Huddersfield last week. So I don't know what's happened. Exactly. So I don't know what's happened. I don't know why things are so different. But things need to change ASAP. Otherwise, we will go down.
Before we jump into some questions, I do just want to pose this both to you. Do you think we've been worked out this season? Because we were running good, weren't we? And now we just seem to be horrific, like both of you say.
But I feel sorry for Eustis in the fact that it's the same squad. What more can you do? You're only fit, let's be honest, because Hogan still isn't fully fit. There's no way no one can fucking convince me that Scott Hogan's 100% fitness, or if he is, he's the laziest fucking centre forward I've ever seen in my life.
Well, we all know that as well, though.
The only fit centre forward we currently have is Djukovic, who will work his heart out and he'll do everything he can. And I thought he had a good game on Saturday again. But what's the game plan? It's got to be the same thing. Kick it up to him. That's all we've got at the minute. I do think we need to get a bit more creative, but if anything, we're doing the opposite. We're not going simple and we're trying to be extravagant with the ball. Example, Saturday, Chong's got the ball out wide, cuts in on left foot. Looks up, Djukovic in there. I'm going to slip it back to Colin. Colin's going to slip it into Gardner. Gardner's going to try and play it back to Chong. Oh, they're on the counter attack.
Yeah, we faff around too much. Don't
Fucking
we?
cross the ball in.
Yeah.
I think with the Hogan thing, I think surely he has to be fully fit, given he's played like the last 10 games consecutively. There's no way Eustis would field a player who's still injured for that many games in a row. I think with Scott Hogan, he's just such a hot and cold player, and I don't think he probably doesn't know why he is, and I think the people around him don't know why he is, but. As we saw at the start of the season, he was fantastic. He was superb. He was banging in goals. He was closing down players. And now he's just not doing that. He's not doing any of it. I don't think it can be an injury thing. So I think if it was, he would have been pulled to the bench and then the reserves, whatever, 5, 6, 7 games ago. He's played the last 10, 11, 12 games or come off the bench or maybe missed 1 or 2. I'm not sure, but he's consistently played and he's consistently been really poor. And I don't think it's down to injury. I don't think it's down to fitness. I just think he's an extremely hot or cold player. Sometimes he's on it, sometimes he's not. You just don't know what Hogan you're going to get, sadly.
Yeah, no, it's spot on, really. I just because we know he can be dynamite like he was against the Albion away. So when he doesn't put in the performances, we're like, oh, come on, man. We know you can perform. So that hot and cold aspect of him is incredibly frustrated because I
The
mean,
whole
like,
team.
mm,
Not just Scott. Like, don't get me wrong, Scott is the main vocal point of my rage because of how he was on Saturday in the last few weeks. But the whole team just can't. They look like they can't be arsed. The most entertaining thing for me in the first half was when Gary Gardner slid in, won the ball, ran down the line, and nearly got a good cross in. That was one of the highlights of the first half for me because I was like, "Fuck me!" Someone's put some effort in, won the ball, and actually gone forward with it. But we don't know. We don't know what we're doing with the ball at the minute. That's what I don't understand.
No game plan.
There's no game plan. There's no performance. I don't mind losing a game if we've played really well. Blackburn away, pre-World Cup, when we were losing a couple of games and then kind of beginning to start, but we went, you know what, we performed well there, lads. We did all right. We made chances. Now it's just like we just don't give a shit. We just don't care.
yeah, I am pretty much just in complete agreement with that, really. Yeah, you're spot on. Let's jump into some questions from you guys then. Hi guys, what more would it take for Eustis to get the sack, or do you think we may end up walking away? The pressure is on and he's crumbling a bit. Recent results abysmal. And I'm also going to drop in the same question pretty much that Damien's dropped in. Would you say that if we lose the next 2 games, Eustis' time is up? What are your thoughts on that, guys?
You can go first if you want, Zach, or do you want me to?
I'll kickstart. Maybe controversial. I think Eustis' time is up. 9 losses from 11. It doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're at Sunday League or Premier League. 9 losses from 11 games, 6 points from a possible 36 is absolutely horrendous. It is horrific. Like I said, I feel there's no game plan. The players look lost. The players look like they don't know what to do. There seems a real lack of motivation and want to succeed by probably Djukovic in that Blues team. No one seems, I'm sure they are bothered, but certainly from the outside looking in, it doesn't look like it. I find Eustis' interviews frustrating sometimes in that I understand he wants to defend the players, and I think it's right to defend the players, but I do feel sometimes you need a bit of honesty because he said against Luton, I thought they worked really hard, can't fault it. And I think he said that we deserve to win, but with 0 shots on target, that's just not true at all. I like Eustis and I want it to work for Eustis. I really do, because he's proven he can get results. But 9 losses from 11 is inexcusable, and I can't see things picking up anytime soon. It's not as if we're having glimmers of good play on the pitch. The majority of our play at the moment is abysmal from minute 1 to minute 90. No plan, abysmal results. I think Eustis' time is up now, and certainly if we don't get results from these next 2, he's got to go, because even a small manager bounce from whoever comes in, whether that be, Chris Wilder's out the job, Nathan Jones is out the job, there actually are some quite good options at the moment, to be honest. Big Sam Allardyce. We need. I've always said this: when it's working, keep it the same. If it's not, it needs a change, and it's not working. I can't see it changing anytime soon. For me, Eustis has to go now.
Jamie?
It's tough, isn't it? I don't want Eustace to go, really, but the issue is this is the same shit we have every year, isn't it? You can polish the turd all you want, but unfortunately we're fucking shit. The team's shit. We don't know what to do with it. Well, I feel bad for Eustis because, and don't get me wrong, I get Zach, I'm with you. 9 losses out of 11 is fucking abysmal, and it is terrible form, and 90% of managers are gone by now. But I think your problem lies is that pre-World Cup we were so good. The board know he can do a good job. He knows he can pull up performances. He knows that he's got a style that he wants to work with. However, I also think, and I'm not defending him, with the current shit going on at the club with the EFL stuff, it's only makes sense that the dip in form has happened after the investigations kicked off. The takeover deal fell through, and then we started playing poor. We had a slight hope in this Dale guy coming in, and then them 2 games we beat Swansea and we have performance of the seasons against West Brom. That dies off. The players die off again. Surely he knows. All the players currently know at the minute there's no hope. We look like we're playing for a dying club. The EFL are breathing down our necks. It's all going tits up. So I feel for him really as well because he's having to try and deal with, managing a football team at the same time as having, let's be fair about it, having Sanderson out isn't going to be nice. Having Trusty out isn't going to be nice. Deeney out, your club captain must be pretty shit. It's no excuse, but them 3 especially on Saturday were a miss. I feel for him a little bit because he's trying to manage a football team while having the board above him being absolutely crucified at the minute. The fan base is clearly toxic at the minute because everyone's hating it right now.
Yeah.
It's a horrible atmosphere in the club. So I feel for him. I think whoever you bring in, I agree, a manager bounce would happen. I mean, would I take Big Sam right now? Oh, Christ, would I? Because he'd be the perfect Birmingham City manager, wouldn't he? Shit house, 4-4-2, long ball football is what Big Sam would bring to you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't disagree with anything you said there. I think almost Eustis's poor run of form is almost being a little. I think he's quite protected, Eustis, in that things are terrible with the way the clubs run off the pitch at the moment, and I think
It's probably
I
cheap
agree
to get
with
rid
you.
of.
Yeah, yeah, true. That is true. But I agree with you, Jamie, in that I think for the performances to be good on the pitch, things have to work well from the top. But at the end of the day, and I'm not defending BSHL here, but BSHL aren't the ones who put that 11 out, and then they have nothing to do with the performances on the pitch. That's a completely separate thing. That is down to Eustis and the players, regardless of what's going on at the top. The performances on the pitch, the way the players train, the way they conduct themselves on the pitch, and the way they play on the pitch is nothing to do with BSHL. It's to do with Eustis and the 11 players that are on the field. And as much as BSHL aren't doing their bit, aren't doing their job because the club's a mess, Eustis and his players aren't doing the job as well. And I just think if you look at previous seasons as well, we are in a no better position in terms of league position, in terms of points, in terms of goals conceded, in terms of goals scored. We are in the exact same position under the likes of Bowyer, Karanka, and he seems to be probably getting defended a lot more because of the results at the start of the season. So yeah, it's a minefield. There's so much wrong with Blues at the moment. It's not just Eustis, it's the people at the top. It's just a terrible time to support Blues. It really is.
Yeah. Well, going back slightly on that question that Dave sent in, he says, what would it take for Eustace to get the sack, or do you think he may end up walking away anyway? I can't speak today, bloody hell. So what do you think? What would it take for him to get the sack?
Anything less than 4 points in the next 2 games, he's gone. I think.
Yeah.
So could you see that club statement's official sort of thing on Twitter in the next 2
Well, no,
games?
they're never going to say that we've given an ultimatum, have they? But I think in their heads they're probably going 2 relegation teams here. If Eustace doesn't pull away from this a little bit, he's got to fucking go. I don't want him to, but I think it's a very cutthroat business, is football, and it's like you've said many times, Zach and Tommy, this is a results-based business. At the end of the day, it is.
Mm-hmm.
For me, he won't be sacked before it's Wigan on the weekend, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
He won't be sacked before Wigan. I think it would take. It's tough. I think a battering, either a 3-0 loss, 4-0 loss, he'd get the sack. I think a draw, he wouldn't get sacked. And I think a respectable loss, he wouldn't get sacked. I think it would have to take a heavy battering against Wigan for him to go. It just depends as well. Like the club before have gone behind managers' backs and spoken to other managers before, whilst they've still been at the club. So, if someone's on the other line ready to come in and they're just waiting for a poor result, who knows? I don't know what it will take. That's down to the people higher up to decide what it takes. But I think a battering against Wigan, and he could very well be gone.
Jamie,
Yes, sir.
what do you think? What's it going to take for Eustis to get sacked?
Like I said, anything less than 4 points from 6, he's gone in the next 2 games. I think we have to beat Wigan, and then we have to at least get something at Rotherham.
Yeah. Do you not think we should be winning
No.
the game?
Yeah, obviously, but of course I do. But I think anything less than 4 points, he's gone. I think a
Right,
defeat
okay.
against either of them is unacceptable. I think at least 1 win out of them 2 is okay. I think 2 in 2 is what we really should be fucking getting. But it's an unfortunate situation where to stop the bad rut, lads, you've got to stop losing. And to stop losing right now is we need to somehow just get a draw or just shit out a 1-0. Because I can't see us playing liquid football. I can't see us dominating a team off the park, no matter what. That on paper, our starting 11 should be shitting on Wigan. On paper. However, the football we play
Using toilet paper.
is shit.
Knowing
Right.
Blues, it wouldn't surprise me if we get 2 wins and then he gets sacked. It wouldn't surprise
Yeah,
me. That'd be
it's the
so
other way
Birmingham
around, yeah.
City.
I've still got rabbit scars, don't.
Yeah, I know.
Side note,
I'm the same.
we need goals. Leco's fucking scoring for NK Dons, isn't he? Anyone seen that? Told you it would happen.
I know.
Fucking scoring and then assisting and everything down there.
It is League One though, lads. So it
I feel
is a
like shit,
different
man.
league.
Just want Leco back now.
See, I
Join
told
the
you you'd
club,
miss him.
mate.
I told you you'd miss him.
Yeah.
Okay, so question from Az. The performance against Luton means we are now seriously starting to look over our shoulder. How many points do you think we need to survive this season? Oh, Zach's gone again.
Sorry. My laptop's
Oh.
so shit as well as my setup. Like, if I move a wire slightly, then things disconnect.
While
Right,
Zach's
hold
answering, while Zach's sorting his shit out, I'll answer if you want, Tommy.
Okay.
I think we've been looking over our shoulder since Cardiff. I have anyway. I've been going, fuck me, here we go. Like, we
Yeah,
dropped
I've been
points.
checking the table. That's for sure.
To be honest, I'm a Birmingham fan. I've been checking the table until it says we've got 50 points. I'm going to keep checking the fucking table. It's one of them. I think we consistently have to look over our shoulder now, and it's sad that we've gone from 1 win into the playoffs to we're looking over our shoulder at relegation scrap again.
It's so typical, isn't it?
It's so annoying. How many points keep us up this season? I think 48, 47 or 48 keep us up this season. I can't see any of them teams down there getting another 17, 18 points, if I'm honest. They look dreadful. However,
Well, to
if
give you
anyone's got
some-
Birmingham City to play, they're probably going to get 3 at some point.
Well, to give you some context, we've got 12 games until the end of the season. We're on 38 at the moment. We're only 7 points off the bottom, never mind the bottom 3. In terms of who we've got to play still, Wigan, they're below us. Rotherham, they're below us. Watford are above us. QPR are just
QPR.
above us. Blackburn are in the playoffs. Reading, I think, is still below us, or they might have gone above us now. Yeah, they have. They've actually gone further up the table than I thought they have, actually. They're 14th now. Stoke, Sunderland, that's going to be an interesting game. Sunderland away. Millwall away. Blackpool at home. Coventry away. And Sheffield United at home on the last day of the season on May 8th. I mean, they are a difficult last 12 games, to be fair to us. Like, it's just these next 2 games, really. So I don't know, really. It could come down to just like 3 wins could potentially keep us up, really. That's genuinely what I think.
I think we have to hope and pray that Sheffield United box off second place coming into the last day of the season and play the fucking under-21s and just let us have a little play about and have some points. Pretty pleased.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad team to be playing on the last day. If Sheffield United have nothing to play for, they're going to field a weaker team. They're going to save their main players. I think it's not necessarily the worst scenario playing Sheffield United on the last day. I think in order to survive, I think we need 50 points. I think it's the magic number every season. And I don't want to have to rely on other teams being shit in order for us to survive. We should just get the job done ourselves. I agree. I think there are 3 teams worse than us in the Championship. I think Cardiff being one, despite them being, beating us. I think Wigan being the other. I think Wigan looked torrid this season. And I think Huddersfield looked really, really poor as well. I mean, they got, was it 3-0 3-0 at the weekend? 4-0 maybe? Despite that, our run of form is dreadful. Wouldn't surprise me if we went the rest of the season with no wins, to be honest. So, but I do think we need to hit the magic number of 50 in order to guarantee survival, because you know what teams are like. It comes to the end of the season, the top teams start dropping off a little bit. The bottom teams really need wins. They pick up points. So I think we need to get to 50. No questions asked.
Fair enough, yeah. I was just thinking about the Sheffield United last game of the season. I'd actually prefer if they'd already been like their season's finished, so they can't finish anywhere else. I'd actually prefer if they'd have finished in the playoffs, really, because if they've already gone up automatically, majority of those players probably won't play for them next season. If they're already in the playoffs, they will definitely play their weaker team. That's just one thing, yeah. Dave Sherlock. Say we can't get any of the loans on a permanent deal. Which of these current crop of players would you keep hold of next season? Interesting question.
What, as in like the players that aren't our loanies?
Yeah. It's just sort of like loan players, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so obviously we keep Ruddy because he has kept us in enough games this season. I'm still bewildered as to why the fuck Maxine Collin hasn't been given a contract.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Solid at right back, consistent performer. It's probably easier to say who we wouldn't keep.
Yeah.
And in terms of who we wouldn't keep for next season, in terms of who is a current.
Okay, let me get the squad out then. Let me see which you think.
There's a good number of players I wouldn't want to keep in please.
So we're agreeing we're going to keep John Ruddy
all day.
Neil Etheridge, is he worth keeping? Why?
It's a bit harsh.
He's on too much money. He can't kick a fucking football, and he's just wasting away there. Why not just put a young lad on the bench and just free up some wages?
Really could have said that better. Really could have said that better.
He can go.
Okay, I'm happy for Etheridge to go, but not fuck off. I think
I'm agreeing with you like that.
I'm happy for Etheridge to go in terms of that. I think he's a very good
Etheridge can leave. He's wasting away, and he should go. He should have gone to Huddersfield in January. That's why I'm annoyed. I read everything saying he's gone to Huddersfield. He's going to Huddersfield. He's going to Huddersfield. No, he's not. Couldn't agree wages. Great.
I think Etheridge is a very good goalkeeper and still has a lot to give to a club out there. I think that club isn't Birmingham City, though, and especially given the wages he's on, I'd be happy for Etheridge to leave just to free up some of the wage bill. But I still think he's a very good goalkeeper and has a lot to give.
A lot of our bitterness does come from Football Manager, though, boys. You have to realise. I'm currently in a wage war with Deeney and Etheridge on my Birmingham career. Deeney's trying to get 40 grand a week off me on Football Manager, and I'm losing my fucking head over it.
I still hold a grudge over Freddie Guarin for not signing another contract at Roma. I was really pissed off with that.
Freddie Guarin, wow, that's a throwback.
He was so amazing. He's a player you probably haven't thought of for a while. Zach Geacock. Would you keep him?
When Jamie said youngster there, I assumed he was talking about Zach Geacock. Yeah.
Hey, he's gone again.
Jamie, you speak and I'll sort this out.
That's what I mean. Like, Etheridge was set to go. He clearly doesn't. He's not getting first team football. He wants first team football. He can just go. He's too much wages. You know, like I said in the EFL thing I brought out the other week, lads, apparently we're hemorrhaging money, and having players on that much money is not helping anyone. So unfortunately, it did come across a bit harsh, but it's a sad reality of it. He needs to go, and Harley Dean probably needs to go as well because of the wages. Scott Hogan's apparently one of our bigger earners as well. He can go as well. If we're going to talk about players I'd get rid of for financial situation, yeah. If we're getting or players that haven't performed, I don't think.
Speaking of which,
many I'd keep.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm not going to go down the whole squad or else we'll be here forever. Troy Deeney, would you keep him for another season?
I'd give him another year.
Really? Even the performances this year?
I think he's been better than he was last year.
Yeah,
I think he offers a lot more. I know a lot of people think he's a waste of a blue shirt. I know, I get that. But he's... why not? He's not sucking the club dry, as apparently his wages aren't horrific.
It's whether he's performing, though, for me, really. Because if we get rid of him, we could bring in a better striker.
I want Blues to start really thinking about the future, and rather than bringing in all these 30, 31, 32, 33-year-olds, I want the signing like Longolo, who was 400k. I love the idea of Brandon Thomas Asante before he went to West Brom. I want more of
Right.
these 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds who are going to come in, who are going to be here for the future at Blues. You know, there are so many like hidden gems in League
Oh,
One
yeah.
and League Two who we just don't even consider, who are
Zach's been
performing for
playing
their
Football
club.
Manager.
I was literally going to say, who are performing for their clubs and won't cost a load to bring in. I love signings like Longolo for £400,000, who's a young player who's here and hopefully will be a good player for the future. I think we've got the likes of Jordan James, George Hall, who are going to be fantastic. Jordan James has made 50 appearances for Blues and he's 18. So
Yeah.
I want us to start
Play
thinking
more,
about
but
the
never mind.
future. So to answer, should Troy Deeney stay? Oh, I don't know. Maybe just to have one or two players who really have that experience. He's clearly cares about the club and has that passion. I thought he had a great start to the season. He had a better season than last. I agree with Harley Dean. I think Harley Dean's been a brilliant servant and I think he is a good defender, but given the wages and wanting to progress and move on, same with Etheridge. I think it's time to let those two go, but I'd keep Troy Deeney just for that bit of experience, for that passion. I think his performances have been better. And as Jamie said, I don't think his wages are as high as both Etheridge and Dean. So that's where I stand with those three. Anyway.
Give him a coaching role. Give him an assistant manager's role or something, because
I did
clearly he
think-
wants to stay
I
around the
think
club.
he's still got. I think he's still got years in him as a footballer, though. 2, 3, 4 years left.
Yeah, well, interesting to think about it. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. I don't know myself. I just feel like we could be doing better, really, because Deeney's obviously he's getting goals this season. He didn't get the goals he had last season. I just feel we should go for more of like you're saying, that younger route, which is what Craig Gardner is saying, who's obviously the technical director. So, do you agree with him on that, Zach?
What's this? Sorry, I zoned out.
Gary Gardner wants Craig
Steve's
Gardner
face
just wants
like
young
this.
players.
What was it? What was this about?
Well, Craig Gardner was criticised for being in that interview then when he's saying this, we're not going to buy anybody over the age of 30 or whatever. And it was like a very specific age group he was going to look into investing in. So do you agree with that? Is that sort of something that you'd be on board with?
That he's not going to buy anyone over 30.
Yeah, he's looking for like 22 to 25-year-olds to bring into the team.
I agree with that. I think it's important as a football club to really, really think about the long term. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying everyone has to be under the age of 30. That's not what I'm saying. I think it's really good to have a few 30, 31, 32, 33, 34-year-olds who have that experience to help the younger players in the team. I think we look at Arsenal, for example, the majority of their investments have been youth. Same with the few players Liverpool have bought in. Clubs these days want the young players so they can get them on 5-year contracts. They can really build them up as players and push them forward. I think the best way to invest as a football club at any level is to bring these 20, 21, 19, 18-year-olds in who are showing great potential in for low prices, develop them, improve them as players, and either sell them on for more in 6, 7, 8 years' time and get 6, 7, 8 years of great service out of them. So I'm not opposed to that at all. I think you need a smattering of experience and a smattering of older players in the team to support the majority of youth players who are going to develop and push Blues forward, because I feel we need that more of that mentality, not just constantly these older players. You know, I want a bit of youth in the Blues side to hopefully give us a bit more hunger, give us a bit more energy, a bit of a spark, and just push us forward a little bit.
I completely agree, and I'm not pissing on your parade. However, we are currently under an EFO investigation. There's every fucking chance we're going to get a transfer embargo.
Have fun looking towards that at the end of the season.
No, I'm not being a dick, but there is every chance with an investigation
no,
going
you're
on.
right.
They could do what they've done to Cardiff and gone, here's an embargo then.
Yeah.
If we talk about players that I think have ran their course, I think either Jordan Graham pulls a finger out or he's gone.
He's one definitely needs to leave for me. He's not up to the standards at all.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for him because he seems like a genuinely nice bloke.
Yeah, of course, yeah. He's a top guy.
Cosgrove comes back. I'd be interested what Cosgrove does next season, actually.
I still think he's the wrong level. I feel like he's found
So
his
do
level
I.
at Plymouth.
Well, hopefully we
fair enough to him.
get a nice fee for him.
Yeah, true.
You know, but it does worry me. Like I said to you before the pod started, if you look at that starting 11 against Luton, take Hannibal and put Bakuna in it, that's our actual 11 that are owned by Birmingham City. and we were shite.
Yeah,
Bakuna
it's
came on and
worrying.
changed the game, to be fair. I thought Bakuna did all right.
Yeah, we are what you say, what you said earlier, Jamie, aren't we? We just lack that cutting edge, and that's where I
There's
feel
no
like,
cutting edge in this team.
yeah,
None.
that's where I feel like if we did ship out players like Deeney and Graham, we'd be able to get those younger players in who bring that spark to us, really. And I feel like, say we got, hypothetically, let's say we bought Thomas Asante, I feel like he'd actually be he'd be scoring for us. I'm absolutely certain of this. I don't feel like we get that certainty with Duke, Hogan, or Deeney. It's sort of like when we had Adams, it was like, we know we're going to score. You know, it's just obvious. You know, when we've had good strikers at the club, like Forsell and Phillips and Zigic, you know, you knew they were going to score all the time. You know, we had those players in the team. So it was like, okay, we're going to score. I don't get that same assurance anymore. So if we bought a young kid for cheap, under 500 grand, sold them on for more, you know, that's a good business strategy. It's what Brentford did for years, and that's how they've gotten into the Premier League. You think of the strikers they've had over the years, what they had Hogan, they had Malpai, they had Watkins, they have Tony now. You know, they buy cheap, they sell big, and they get their money's worth for the amount of them when they're playing for them. And it's a flawless strategy as well, because they're now in the Premier League absolutely flying.
How Birmingham City would it be to re-sign Cameron Jerome at the end of this season?
Yeah, I was thinking that, you know.
I'd snap my season ticket in half and just walk out.
But the bloke I used to sit next to in the main stand for that season, he said, I don't even bother getting up anymore when he goes through on goal.
No, it's true.
I just knew he was going to miss.
One of the greatest things I've ever had said to me. I'm not going to say who it was because I'm already going to get a message about this when it goes out. But he said to me legitimately, Cameron Jerome he could be a world-class striker, but the only thing that lets him down is his touch and his finishing. And I was like, the two fucking things that make you a good striker is what he's missing. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he's a good striker, he just doesn't have a touch or finish. Yeah. Which is quite crucial.
Yeah.
For a fucking striker.
Oh, God.
That's like saying you're a good doctor, but your knowledge of medicine is shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, that was a cough. I told that guy he had polio.
Fuck.
That's a Family Guy meme. I'm sorry, I plagiarised.
I love Family Guy. You're more than welcome to make Family Guy references.
Do you know who said that? You get another Family Guy point.
Dr. Hartman.
Yes, he did. In what episode do you know that? I do.
Season 3, episode 4, minute 26. I have no idea.
It was the court case one where Adam
okay.
West gets put up in court. Sorry, we're going massively off topic here.
What a show. What a show.
Speaking of which, Cameron Jerome, he had an incredible game 12 years ago. So this is obviously the segment where we're going to try and liven things up a bit, because I honestly, I can't be arsed in just going, yeah, we were pretty bad at the weekend, weren't we? Let's talk about next week. We're probably going to lose, aren't we? We've got to go 12 years into the past to have a bit of good luck at this point. So, I mean, obviously, Zach, you weren't as big of a Blues fan as you are now, but what was your sort of remembrance from that day, even if you don't really remember it as much?
At the time, I wasn't. So I'd been into football for years at that point, probably from the age of 6, 7, but never really followed or supported a club. I knew my dad was a Birmingham City fan, of course, but didn't really follow the Blues until about 2013, 2014 it was. But yeah, I do remember the day because we were at home, we were watching it. I remember watching the West Ham game prior to it, and my dad throwing me around the living room when see Craig Garner scored. But
Dad, put me down, I don't care.
Despite not being a Blues fan, I remember watching the Carling Cup run or parts of it. You know, memories not great back then, but watching parts of it, enjoying it. I'll never forget the Obafemi Martins goal. Obviously, my dad was banging the walls, and the neighbours was asking what's going on the next day. But I'm gutted I wasn't a fan then, because I can't tell you how much that would have meant to me, that just being there and seeing such success. And this is where I'm really gutted being a Blues fan, is probably because I started supporting Blues really when we started to decline and things really started to go to shit. But no, it's nice to have some, despite not being a fan, some really good memories of it, because it's the best moment in our history, isn't it?
Jamie, talk us through your emo look on that day.
I was 17, man. All right.
Was that necessary?
17.
Oh, it's absolutely necessary. It's a very good point.
I was 17. Sure, man. Like, was a great day, weren't it? We drove down from Birmingham. We got off just on the outskirts of London and got the tube in. We were literally just above the goal, behind the goal as well, where our
really?
seats at Wembley. Yeah, literally eye to eye level with Martins as he taps it in behind the goal. Absolute bedlam. I went from probably row 12 to the bottom because everyone just fucking fell on each other.
Literally,
It was just limbs, weren't it? Like, it was that, for me, my favourite moment is still, I don't know if it's that clear, but it felt like an eternity, is when Martins taps it in and no one celebrates for a good second or half a second. Everyone just looks at the lino as if to say, you give an offside.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know why.
fuck, it counts.
Always...
Oh, no.
I don't know why we all thought it might be offside. There's
Because it's
literally no
Blues.
hit offside at all in the whole
How
thing.
Birmingham City would it be, though, for him to just go, nah.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
Yeah. Because literally, the year before, Villa were in the cup final against Man United. And I can't tell you how nervous I was for that final. And the fact that United won it, I was relieved about it, really. Because I just remember them going 1-0 up within the first 6 minutes of the game. I was at football in the morning, so everybody's checking their phones, making sure, like, what's the lineup and everything, and seeing what's going on. So I get in, and I turn the telly on my shitty old little box telly as well. We used to have one of those back in 2010. That's how poor we were. And I turned it on, and literally I can see Vidic taking down Bonlahorn. I'm like, oh my God, no way. I can't believe this is happening. But fortunately, they lost the final. And then for us to win it the next year is even fucking better, honestly. It was terrific.
Do you know what I love the most about them inbred fans? Is that they have the audacity to then turn around and go, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, isn't it?
Literally.
Like, no, fuck off. Like, you lost it a year ago, you dickhead. Like, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, isn't it? Like, oh.
Despite the fact that I think they've won it the most, I'm pretty sure about that. Or did, at least, yeah.
History book Villa. I think one of my favourite moments of that day is still as well, come to think of it, is, you know, after we scored to make it 2-1, like the 93rd minute, is when Jerome's running for on goal, and every Birmingham fan just shouts corner, and he even looks up and runs to the fucking corner, and just stands there and everyone's like, yeah! he's through, he's 1-on-1, and everyone's like, go to the corner! Just fucking go to the corner!
Honestly, it was carnage after we scored, because it was actually, it was more mental after we scored than when we scored. Like, the celebrations weren't as chaotic as it was when
every throw-in was like a goal. It was like,
yeah, honestly, it's insane. Like, you watch the highlights back and everybody in that little bit there is just going like fucking crazy when we get that throw. It's unbelievable.
And then he kicks it. I think Fahy or someone or Larson boots up an arse flat for another friend.
Yeah, because I remember we take a short corner and he gives it to Jerome and they sort of mess about with it there. And Larson decides to cross the ball in, and my dad just goes, "Oh, Seb, what are you doing?" Just like, he should have just kept it in the corner. Yeah, he's just he couldn't. He's always made me smile because Dad always used to say, or does still say, Villa always used to win cups when football. When football used to be started by throwing the ball out the window. I don't know why it always makes me laugh at this. Just imagine it's like some sort of street, you just throw the ball out the window.
But oh, what a day. Just an amazing day, amazing feeling, like it was great, weren't it? Like, I was knackered, I didn't get back in until about 1 a.m. It was just scenes.
Yeah, I didn't have quite the day that you had, obviously, because you're 10 years older than me. Sorry, that was.
Oh no, there was no alcohol.
that sounded really strange when
that hurt. Ow.
So he's saying you're old as fuck, Jamie.
Not even fucking 30 yet, man. Cut me some slack.
I'm not saying that. I just said that.
You do this every time. Every time we have a guest on, I get this as well. We had Robbo on, we've had Mags on. Every time they talk about something, they're like, Jamie, do you remember that? Do you remember that? You old fuck.
I'm retiring.
I'm not saying that at all.
I'm 29? God.
That's just state fine.
It's nice they still let you to Blues games though, being in an old folks' home and everything. Like Jamie, so it's,
Sure, man. I hope Longello never follows you on Twitter. Week 4.
Yeah, I'm sure. Who knows?
I was thinking of segues before we started on today, saying that I was gonna go to Zach first, like I did, but I was thinking of coming to you and saying, "How old were you on the day? Like 46 or something?" But yeah, going back to my original
17.
Going back to my original points, I was 8 on the day, which is insane to think because I'm now 20. We went down on the morning and we parked literally. I think it was a couple of blocks away from Wembley because my dad knew someone from work who had a relative down there and said basically you can just park on his drive and then walk over to the game. So I remember that very well. I remember seeing Wembley's arc like pretty much just as soon as we got into London. I was like, oh my God, we're here. Because it suddenly hit me then. Because the weird thing was, obviously thinking back to it, because I was quite young at the time, it felt like we'd already won. I don't know why, but I just maybe the way my memory works, but I felt like I'd already seen us win the cup almost. It was strange because I don't remember myself thinking we were going to lose. It felt kind of like we were going to win. It was a really strange feeling. Maybe that's just the way my brain's working. But obviously we got in, and then because obviously my brother was, oh God, I actually think he might have been 4 at the time, my brother. So he got in.
Still swearing.
Yeah, he was still going, fucking hell, this is high. Obviously we're just suddenly taken away by the height because we were like right up into the stadium. We were behind the big board, sort of just a few rows back from it. I can't really remember, to be honest. We have our tickets somewhere, so we'd be able to pinpoint where we were in the stadium. But yeah, it was just insane. I remember Zigic's goal just being like the most insane it'd ever been. Like the Martins one, like I say, it just wasn't as insane because when Zigic scored, literally my dad almost pulls me over because of how incredibly we're celebrating. So I sort of just get this tug over my right shoulder, and he's just like jumping around like a madman. And then when Van Persie scores, it's kind of like, shit, this might be not the day we're thinking of. Because obviously the cup final for this year was yesterday as well, Newcastle Man United. And I was kind of feeling that if Newcastle did take the lead, that they would win. But obviously they weren't anywhere near as good as we were in that cup final, really. Because, I mean, we were immense, weren't we? So it was just like, even when Van Persie scored, I was kind of like, it's going to be difficult, but we can still win this.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't feel that with Newcastle yesterday, though, because I thought they were going to lose as soon as United scored that first goal.
Yeah,
I
they
missed
never
that
looked to
defence.
show room. Yeah,
You are.
That defence. I miss that defence so much, man.
Man.
Like,
Does
going
anybody
into
remember?
games extremely confident, going, we might not score, but you ain't fucking scoring either.
Literally, yeah.
Like, Scott, Dan and Johnson in the middle, Carr, Ridgewell, and then Foster in goal. And it was just anything that come forward, just going back that way. Send it that way.
We didn't have Dan on that day, though, did we? We had Uranek at the back.
Yeah.
Who was just mad. He was so good. I feel like
good times, man.
It was
look at
very
us
good
now.
times.
Look at us now.
Smiley and happy, crying in a minute because you suddenly realise it's all over.
Oh, God, I know.
We got Wigan on Saturday.
Jean Beausejour. Speaking of Wigan,
versus
Jean
Wigan.
Beausejour, what a player he was.
God, he was immense that day. He really was. He came on, if I'm not mistaken, and he just ran his heart out. I just remember there was so many times he just got onto the ball and made so many attacks. Because obviously when Martin scored, we had 4 minutes of added time, which, considering that nowadays, we probably have about 8. So Martin's had 2 chances. He had one put through to him, and then Chesney decides to go running out and clear it. But then the second one he turns the ball round Chesney and goes almost in. Literally, had he scored that third goal, I mean, the game would have been won. I think there'd been people on the pitch at that point, though, because had he had gone around the keeper and then beat the next player and then put it in the back of the net, I mean, it would have been one of the goals of the tournament. It honestly would have wrapped the day up brilliantly.
Do you remember Fahey smacking the inside of the post as well from about 25 yards out?
I don't remember much from the day, which is really annoying because
He drove one, I remember it. He just drove it across the ground off the inside of the post, and I was like,
he hits it and it hits Zigic and it comes back off him and he hits the post. Then I was just, for fuck's sake, I couldn't believe it. It was because where we were sat as well, I was I was stood on my chair for most of it, but I could see the shot off Zigic. But I feel like I remember the defense moving across to go and block that shot. You just had like one clean shot of it, and had that shot in, it would have been like it was actually better that Martin scored late on than it was with Fahey scoring that goal then, because I feel like Arsenal would have stepped it up even more then.
And obviously, it was written in the stars. We were denied a penalty 3 minutes into the game and a sending off because Bowyer was 1,000,000% onside and rounded the keeper and got took out.
And how fucking lucky was it that Chesney didn't get sent off and that Bowyer was offside? Had he been sent off? Yeah, he wasn't offside.
He was like that much on.
Yeah, he was massively on.
Because
Literally.
I had my mates texting me from home going, I don't want to piss you off anymore, Jay, but Bowie is a good foot onside. And I'm just like, you fucking joking. Like,
Oh man. Does anybody remember Martin's coming on? Because I don't.
no.
No, it was a weird one, wasn't it? Because it was like I remember him scoring, and
Who
I
did he come
suddenly
on
went
for? Was it Fahy?
because I remember shortly after I was like, wait, who the heck? Martin scored. I knew Martin scored the first time, but I was like, wait, was he starting? I had no idea. I couldn't remember it. It's just suddenly this realization of who the hell did he come on for? It was really surprising me. It's like, where the fuck does he come from? It was so odd. It was just, yeah. I mean, like the whole day was just a complete blur now, really, because it was just completely insane. It was mental.
I don't think I've witnessed a goalkeeper display like that as well since, like, for a Birmingham City goalkeeper. Ben Foster was
Foster was
another
insane.
level. He was
Yeah.
insane anyway. Like, he was a great goalkeeper for us, a great player. But that game was just, wow. There's a fuck all you can do with that Van Persie goal as well. There's nothing any keeper stopping that.
It was amazing, that goal, really, because you consider how much he had to get round Jurinek.
Yeah, he had to jump put his whole leg around Jurinek's thighs, which are about 30 inches each. Like,
yeah, the guy's like the brick wall, and he still managed to score past him.
But
what were your sort of walk us through your thoughts and feelings when that final whistle went, then, and how you celebrated?
Just screaming. I had old men hugging me, crying that I'm never going to see again. I've never seen since. I didn't know. It was just that, just mad, weren't it? It was, we all knew, like, we were all 17, all the lads who came down, 18, 17, and we all knew this is probably never going to happen again.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it. Like, fuck me, we're in Europe. You know, we didn't give a shit. We were laughing. It was just bedlam, man. It was delirium. We went to London as the massive underdogs, and we absolutely fucking did it. I think we were probably one of the biggest cup final upsets at the time.
Yeah, I can't think of many.
Massive underdogs we were.
I mean, Arsenal had just beaten Barcelona in the week too.
Yeah. That's what I mean,
so
like,
how we did that, I have no idea.
Mental.
And it was all written against us. Like, it was typical Birmingham City written against us. Van Persie goes off injured. Nicholas Bentner come on, and everyone was like, he's gonna fucking score, innit? Like, it was just chance after chance, and you just was like, oh fuck. And then that relief. I did think it was a bit shit though. Like, it was almost like we scored that goal to go 2-1 up, and it's almost like if you look at the fourth official, just goes, yeah, fuck that, 4 minutes, yeah. Where the fuck did 4 minutes come from? Like,
I'm surprised there wasn't more, to be honest, because there was 6 minutes of added time when we were getting promoted against Reading. Like, that was the real piss take. That was because literally we'd been 2-0 up we'd been the goal up and then got the second goal. They get a goal back immediately, and then 6 minutes just appears out of nowhere. It's like, what? So I was expecting that with the cup final as well. I was like, 4, fucking hell, we'll take that any day. Yeah, it was a mental day. I mean, I remember the goal vaguely, but I remember the final whistle going, because I just remember, you know, like when I don't know whether you've ever felt, I don't know whether any of you've actually passed out before, but it's that sort of feeling when you suddenly feel yourself go weightless. You sort of feel like you can't control yourself, and then
it's like an out of body experience, isn't it? You're just kind of like, what the fuck?
Had I passed out at that point, I don't think I'd have ever forgiven myself for that. But I managed to sort of just snap into it again, because I felt myself go back like that, just in shock. But then I suddenly had to pick myself up again like that, just like, shit, what the hell's just gone on? So I was just in shock for the rest of the celebration. So I didn't really properly celebrate. I got my dad over my right shoulder, my mum over the other shoulder, Jack's here. So the whole thing was just going complete carnage. And then there's a bloke who just comes sliding down the top of us, like proper crowd surfing everybody. So he crashes in there, you know, proper going mad. That might have been the Martins goal now. This is what I mean. I can't remember very well because I was too young. I think that crowd surfing bloke was the Martins goal, but I feel like the relief I suddenly felt was definitely at the final whistle. But yeah, then
it's
it was
all
just
one big
like,
happy blur.
It was just tears. Then it was just like so emotional and so amazing. My dad, when the 4 minutes got put up, he was just like, oh, Arsenal are definitely going to score. But I vividly remember him turning to my mum in I think it's when Chesney gets the ball, when he's about to launch it forward. He turns to my mum and he goes, I think we're going to win. And that's what he says. I just remember that. I just thought, we are going to win, aren't we? We are actually going to win this trophy. This is insane. Ah,
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
I
makes
miss
me
football
happy
like
and
that as
angry at
well.
the same time.
I miss that kind of football though. Like Blues teams can't do that now. Like, and I don't mean win a cup, not by any
No.
means. But what I mean is just simple fucking football. Kick the ball that way. How hard is it? Like all game, that's all Johnson did really. And the ball came to him, fucking send it that way. Sigature's
Yeah.
there, kick it at him. Just do it. That's what we
Mm.
did, and it worked effectively. We frustrated Arsenal. We stuck to
Mm.
a game plan. We did really well. It's not like we scored our only 2 shots. We had all game. We had chances ourselves.
Yeah, we did.
You know,
Yeah.
it weren't just an Arsenal shit on us fest. It was just incredible goalkeeper display kept us alive.
We deserve to win the cup though, because you consider the opposition we beat to get there. You know, it wasn't a fluke. It definitely wasn't. We beat Villa in the quarterfinals and West Ham in
Boop.
2 legs. And then to beat
Imagine
Arsenal
getting
in the
lobbed.
final.
Imagine getting lobbed
Yeah.
by 6'7" Zigic.
They didn't deserve that second goal either. I mean, like we definitely deserved to win the cup. We didn't deserve to. We didn't deserve to lose to Villa in the quarters because they were definitely not the best team at the time.
No.
I mean, that Villa team that didn't win the Carling Cup the year before, I think was the last good Villa team that they've had. You know, with Barry and Milner and Bonlahor and what's his name, Petrov. You know, that's the team that I remember
Yeah.
feeling, fucking hell, this team could do something really. Because Martin O'Neill, when he was in charge, I was like, they could easily get top 4. They never did, which was always hilarious. But they worried me, that team, because I was like, yeah, I feel like they could do things, and they could do it again. I mean, like, I'm still keeping that honor of we're the only team in the West Midlands to win anything in this decade, and Villa haven't won
This
anything since
century.
'96. Yeah, literally, yeah. So like, I don't know.
Actually, on that note, I had a Villa fan turn around to me and tell me that the playoff trophy counts as
No,
a
it
trophy that
doesn't.
they've won, and I
It's
was
not.
like,
Absolutely
get
not.
absolutely
No chance.
I don't
fucked.
count the 2001 as a major trophy. All right,
Yeah.
it's not a major title at all.
No.
It's a completely minor trophy.
They
It's like
were
winning
like,
the
yeah, but
Johnson's
we
paint
won
trophy.
we won we won the playoff trophy, and I was like, fuck off. Like,
So the year before
shut
they got
up.
promoted, when Fulham won it, does that count as a major trophy as well?
Yeah, I
Didn't think so. No.
honestly. I'm awaiting that Arsenal Villa fan to comment on this thing again as well. Yeah, you can fuck off. You know who you are from last time.
Yeah. To that certain Villa
You
fan in the comments. To that certain Villa
self-entitled
fan in the
bastard.
comments section. Haha.
Yeah.
You
Go
haven't won
cry
anything
more.
since
Cry more
1966.
because Grealish won a pen against you. We can't play. Fuck it.
Well,
Sorry,
it's
I'm
still
back.
yeah, it's nothing different though for Blues really to go and throw it away in a couple of months' time though, is it? To get relegated, lose the manager to his literal rival team, lose all the players, get bankrupt.
I still don't know how we went down.
Yeah,
That team was too good to be relegated. I'm sorry to say it, but
we
and I've
just
heard
went
Ben
out.
Foster on his podcast say it enough times as well. He said this team, though, I still to this day don't understand how the fuck we went down. We
Win enough
were on
games,
40
did we?
points, but we were on 40 points and still going down. That's just how unfortunate Blues were that year.
I think we were on
'Cause we went up,
39.
we were on 39. We went up to 40 because we were getting the draw with Tottenham, but then goal
Yes.
difference was still taking us down, and we had to push.
Mm.
That was
I
a
can't
mad
believe
last
it,
day
yeah.
as well.
We
Do you
weren't even
remember it?
in
I
the
think
bottom.
we weren't in
No,
the
I
bottom
don't remember
three,
it. No.
and then I think we went up to 16th, 15th, back down to 18th, because there was just like, I think Blackburn went 3-0 up away at Wolves, which put them in the bin, and then they
Yeah.
pulled it back to 3-2, which fucked us in the goal difference. Then we had to push for the. Oh, it was just like,
I didn't watch it at the time because my dad thought it'd be too stressful for us at the time because obviously Jack
yeah,
was
it
about
was.
4 and I was 8. So we went out for the day and we just stayed away from pretty much everything, which, I mean, 10 years ago or 12 years ago now, 12 years ago, that was easier to do. Do that nowadays, you ain't got a fucking chance.
No,
So we
you
sort of
can't.
we went around the park and sort of, I think we actually went to the Black Country Museum. It was a bit of a bad idea to do, really. But yeah, we got back and I just remember my dad saying, yeah, we're down after he turned the telly on. I was like, we were 17th when we started. We were outside of the relegation zone. So how the fuck have we been relegated? It was ridiculous. I mean, like, we consider how bad things have gotten since that day. You know, it's painful. It really is. It does make me really. It's probably my biggest regret in life, really. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but like the fact we didn't stay up that season, it's still
we'd be an
really
established
hurts me.
Premier League team.
We would,
Second
because
season syndrome.
I mean, I can take losing to the Villa at home against Grealish and him running into the crowd. That was painful, but it wasn't as painful as getting relegated that day, because it was like we'd actually done something for once and we still threw it away and we still couldn't hold on to it. It really, really hurt. It did, because I just remember days afterwards. Really annoyingly, actually, I'll point this out. The day after we won the Carling Cup, we had school because it was a Sunday, and they closed the school. And I was like, what's going on here? This isn't normal. And they said they had a power outage. But really, what they were saying is that Blues have won a cup. And so we're going to shut the school so that nobody can come in and start boasting about it. I mean, like, because I lived, my school was close to more Black Country region, really. So they were probably mostly West Brom fans. So I think they were thinking, yeah, we're closing the school. We don't want anything today. We'll let them cool down.
All the teachers have gotten absolutely shit-faced.
Yeah, and then miraculously, the day after we got relegated, school was open. Nothing.
Rats.
So either it's a coincidence or they just don't like the Blues. I probably say the second one's probably more likely. Bunch of wankers.
Probably not
Good times.
Good times, but painful times as well. Yeah.
Better than these times, though.
Yeah, they're massively better. I mean, this is interesting, actually. I'm thinking this. Had we have stayed up that day, what team would we be? And I don't want the one you're thinking of. I want genuinely honest answers here.
We'd be like a Crystal Palace, I think.
Do you think we'd still be in the
we'd
Premier
just
League?
be chilling. Yeah, I think that was the season. But at the same time, I think the Carson Young thing would have still shafted us in the end.
Because that is something that could have possibly.
But would it have got dealt with quicker? Yes. Would we have been in the bin as much as we are now? No, because I think the Premier League, even though you're wankers and you did approve Carson, I think they would have probably done something a bit more sharpish about it. BSHL would have never have come in.
No, because they're still, they've still got something dodgy with them, haven't they? They've still got some sort of constituency with Carson Young, even now, really, because they sort of just passed everything on in a very dodgy way.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you where we'd be. I have absolutely no idea. If we stayed up that season, we could have gone down next. But as you said, we had a fantastic team at the time and didn't deserve to go down that season. So a few more additions over that window, and we could have really pushed on. I don't know. It's so tricky. But whatever happened, it can't be any worse than where we're at now.
I think we would have been a lot better. Think about it. The day we went down, lads, Gardner gone, Larson gone, all our best players were gone. Johnson was gone. Dan went pretty soonish after.
Yeah, he did.
Stephen Carr played, but he was still injured. Ridgewell was about. We lost Foster.
He went halfway into the season, didn't he, Ridgewell?
We lost Ferguson.
Ferguson went to Blackpool.
Did we lose Bowyer as well?
Bowyer went to Ipswich, yeah.
So that's what I mean. We lost
in the end,
so much that team, and then imagine you coming into the next season, lads. Your Dibby Gray start coming through the academy. Your Redmond comes through the academy. Your Much comes through the academy. All these players, you've got investment. You're in Europe. I think we would have been fine.
Yeah,
I think we would have been a staple Prem team by now.
Yeah, and we'd have gotten through that group stage as well, because you consider the team we had in that group stage. We were a championship side. We had Adam Rooney up front. We had Marlon King, Chris Woods, Chris Burke as well. Good players, and they definitely deserve to have that opportunity to be in the team. But I just think with that team we had in 2011, taking it into the next season, it would have gotten us at least to the knockout stages. We wouldn't have won the Europa League, definitely not, but we would have definitely been somewhere close to that. It was, that's why I say it's a massive regret of mine, because I felt like we missed out on such an enormous opportunity to not catapult the team, but sort of definitely take us in towards that direction. And this is where the sadness now kicks in.
My cousin was right.
I ain't talking about current Blues anymore today. I've had enough of talking about current Blues.
The last note I'll leave on with that then is my cousin literally said to me the day we got relegated, he was upset, and I spoke to him and I was like, it's shit, innit? And he was like, yeah, he wouldn't be ready for 20 years of the championship. And I was like, nah. And he was like, I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
We're down here for a bit, glad.
it felt like that at the time, you know, because I remember as soon as we got relegated, it was like, well, that's us done then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just to put this into context, Blues, if you're thinking, if one of you is watching this from the club, how have we gone from 12 years ago winning the Carling Cup to the position we are in now? What the hell? How's that happened? How have we even
We're the team
managed
that's been
that?
in the Champo the longest now. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, Leeds is obviously they've gone for probably a worse experience than we have. You know, they've gone from being in the Champions League final to being in the Championship to going into League One at one point as well. But they are back now. So, you know, where's the turnaround going to come for us at any points? You know, are we ever going to get those fucking stands fixed? Are we ever going to get new owners who are going to be interested in the club? Are we ever going to be properly investing into the team who are in desperate need of more numbers? Because Austin Trusty was just suddenly out the team all of a sudden at the weekend. He hasn't got much of a replacement for him. So, you know, it's these questions do need answering. I'm pretty quick, to be honest. Let's be honest. Yeah. But at least we did win the cup. That's one thing.
Something in it.
Yeah.
Anything else left to wrap up before we have a
I think we're good.
minute silence?
I think we're good.
Yeah. No. What else can you say?
Sorry. Predictions for Saturday. Actually, we haven't done that.
I'm literally, I will literally give you the score of what I think it will be, and that's it. I ain't talking about this day and age Blues anymore.
1-0 Blues.
2-1 Wigan.
2-1 Wigan, 1-0 Blues. I'm gonna go 1-1.
Fence
Villa.
boy, yeah.
Oh, fuck off with your fence boy shit, honestly.
Fence boy.
I think we'll draw. I think we will
draw.
because I can see us going a goal down. Again, a scrappy late goal for Djukovic. That's how I can see it going. And I'm also going to say fence boy, but at least I get the scores right, boy, because I got the Luton score right at the weekend, and I also got the Huddersfield score right as well. So, ball knowledge.
Did I not fool when we beat QPR 2-0 and said we're going to win 2-0 and Longello's going to score?
No, I'm going to dub over that clip instead. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, that's another episode of the Blues Focus podcast. I'm starting to fall back into that depression state that I felt 12 years ago when we got relegated. Thank you for listening to the Blues Focus podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, all through the Sports Social Network. If you'd like to follow Zach and Jamie, their ats are on the screen right now. They're both the same on Twitter and Instagram. As well, you can follow us at Blues Focus Pod on Twitter and Blues Focus Pod also on Instagram. Blues Focus and Blues_Focus on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, this has been the Blues Focus podcast. Thank you, Jamie and Zach, for joining me again. And keep right on.
Keep right on.